Hi everybody and welcome to the world of Micah. I am in downtown Orlando where today we are going to be traveling through a little bit of Disney history leading up to the Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. We're going to be visiting a few places where Walt and Roy were together. Some of them were separate, all leading up to the grand opening of Walt Disney World, which is happening today. If you're watching this video as I released it on October 1st, the 50th. Just wanted to give you guys a little backstory of Walt Disney World history, Walt Disney in Central Florida with his brother Roy, because there's not a whole lot. Walt was only here for a little time, and then as you all know, Walt Disney World opened without Walt actually still being alive. Now I've done this before, I've covered this in a more in-depth video. The link will be above to both of these videos. I did one on Roy and Walt and Roy. But we're gonna start out here today where Walt had his conference, his announcement of Walt Disney World to Central Florida and the world. Now, let's take a closer look. So November of 1965, actually November 15th, 1965, in this building right here is where Walt, his brother Roy, and Governor Hayden Burns announced to the world that Walt Disney World, Disney, was coming to Central Florida. The name Walt Disney World wasn't a thing yet. Some people were actually calling it Disneyland. They were saying Disneyland was coming to Central Florida, but it all happened in this building right here. In fact, right up here is where they had the banner. It says Orlando welcomes Disney. I believe it actually said Florida welcomes Disney, and it had Mickey on the banner. It happened right up here. That's incredible, right? A nice banner for Walt, welcoming him and his brother Roy. And now I'm gonna cross over. I've been inside this building once before. The door was open and I went inside, but this is where Walt and his brother Roy pulled up. Now this was not the Pop Parlor back then. This was a hotel, I believed, and they met in the Egyptian room of this hotel, which is no longer here. Now right here is where the car pulled up with Walt and his brother Roy. You can see in the photograph Walt getting out of the car. I believe he was with Governor Hayden Burns, and they would walk in to the Cherry Plaza, is what this was called back then. The Cherry Plaza. It all took place right there. I always like to point this out when I'm here. There's a Stardust Lounge, which is very Tomorrowland-esque, and then right next to that is the Akuaku Tiki Bar. Oh, if Walt could only see this now, I think he would get a kick out of it. It's crazy too to look at all this because none of this was here back in the day. You could see the photograph of when Walt pulled up right over there with his brother Roy. This was all completely empty. Crazy how 50 years, over 50 years, with this being in 1965, you know, things change. Things definitely change. There's not a marker out here. There's nothing to let people know that this building is probably one of the most important buildings in Disney Florida history, because right here, inside this building, is where Walt announced to the world that Disney was coming to Florida. And the fact that Walt was in this actual building blows my mind. There needs to be a marker here. There needs to be something letting people know, but I think a lot of people don't really want people to know. Well, whoever's getting my parking spot, they're gonna have 44 minutes left on this bad boy. All right, heading on to the next location, which was where Roy and Admiral Joe Fowler used to live during the construction of Walt Disney World. So straight ahead, we are gonna be pulling into Roy Disney's house and Joe Fowler's house. So you'll notice as you drive down this cul-de-sac here, all these houses look the same. Well, they built this on purpose. Here at 8922, this was Roy Disney's house. Him and his wife Edna would live here, and they would commute to and from the Florida project This is where he lived. This is also the house that he sat in and watched the opening day special, the grand opening day special of Walt Disney World, starring Julie Andrews. I remember when they asked Roy what he thought about the broadcast, he said, "Where are all the people?" They filmed these at odd times. A lot of the guests were kind of secluded, and when they would put the celebrities on the different attractions and different places that they were shooting, they had no guest. And I think Roy was kind of disappointed with the broadcast. He wanted to see the guests. He wanted to see the smiles on their faces. You know, you remember the opening day madness of Disneyland. Everyone was there. When you watch the opening day celebration of Walt Disney World, it's a little lackluster. It's good. It's really good. It's a staple, and it's a moment in time we will never get back. But it is a little different because there are not a lot of guests. But this was Roy and Edna Disney's house right here. Incredible, right? And right next to Roy's house was Joe Fowler's house. Now that name sticks out to you guys because there's a boat. There's a boat that you can take over, a ferry boat that you can take over to the Magic Kingdom called the Admiral Joe Fowler. That's who this was named after, the boat was named after, but this was Joe's house. Right here, him and his wife. They could just walk right next door to each other, and word is they had barbecues, cookouts, had all kinds of stuff here. Now after the opening of Walt Disney World, they packed everything up and went back to Anaheim. Roy was not alive too much longer after that. He did pass in '71. But he lived in this house when Walt Disney World opened 50 years ago. Incredible. Now there's a house right up here next to Roy's that belonged to someone who was in the middle of the construction and everything. They were let go from the project, but this is where they lived. And now we are going to be heading on to the preview center of Walt Disney World. And that'll be our final stop. Gosh, I can't believe that's where Roy used to live. You know, living here in Central Florida, we don't have a lot of Walt Disney history as much as Illinois and California does. I'm glad I have a few little spots here in Central Florida that I can visit and be reminded of Walt and his brother and all the amazing things they did here. And by the way, I did a deeper dive into history of Roy and everything. The link to that video is going to be up above. Check it out if you would like to see it. It's the story of Roy and his time here in Central Florida. Was just thinking this is possibly the same stretch of road that Roy and Joe Fowler would take from their house to the Florida project when they were doing construction. It's also the same stretch of road they could have taken to the preview center, which is where we're headed, but unbelievable, right? I'm sure back in the day this was nothing but orange groves, no neighborhoods, or newly developed neighborhoods were probably here, but not many. Blows my mind. 50 years, man, 50. All right, we are heading into Walt Disney World now. Straight ahead is where the former home of the preview center of Walt Disney World used to be. So January 10th, 1970, right here, the preview center opened. There were hostesses inside here. You had a 12-minute film, some models, everything you needed to know about what was to come from the Florida project, Walt Disney World. They actually had souvenir merchandise, they had food and beverage offerings, and you can meet some characters here. Now it did close September 30th, 1971, but this is where it was. And right here you can see this is where the old sign used to be. It said Walt Disney World Preview Center on it. Now I've showed this several times, but I always like to stop in and see it, especially since the 50th is just around the corner. So you would drive down a long stretch of dirt road, which is that road right there, leading you to Disney Springs and the rest of Walt Disney World. and you came here from January of 1970 to September 30th, 1971, you would have been greeted by an ambassador of Walt Disney World, a hostesses, and she would have showed you around, showed you all the models. You could have even met Pluto and Goofy in here. They had a 12-minute film talking about the Florida project. It's pretty incredible, man. Honestly, it's pretty incredible, the history of this building right here. I've done several videos talking about the history of this building and shown a lot of photograph comparisons and everything. Anytime I'm in this area and I have a couple of minutes, I stop off and just look at it. Even if I just drive by and look at it from the car. The amount of history that's inside this building is crazy. Did you know this was the very first building on Disney property? This is it right here. Over 50 years ago. This building is 51 years 51 years old. How incredible, right? Man. This is awesome. I will be at the Walt Disney World 50th celebration with bells on. I will be there. For those of you who are watching this, know that I am there right now at the park, having the time of my life, celebrating 50 years of Walt Disney World. Man. But I wanted to do this video today to lead up to that point. So you guys are getting this on the actual day, and then you will see my video of the celebration. Spoiler, I'm going. Everyone's going. You will be seeing 1 million vlogs, live streams, updates throughout the day. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys give my video a chance. I hope you watch it. I hope you enjoy it. But I think we took care of business here today. Can't believe it. 50 years, man. Man. The adventure for today has come to an end, which means it's time to say goodbye. But I will see you guys on the next adventure. Until then, stay weird. Goodbye.